What are the truthful realities behind leaving Nigeria?
Well, up until 1984, I think Nigerians didn't need visa to go to the UK. It's just about 40 years ago. So how did we deteriorate so bad? That's the first question we should ask ourselves.
If you can be asked what you do in your home country by people from your home country.
Okay. So that's
So you wonder if you're even welcomed at home.
doing here. You know that what we earn here as doctors in a month, doctors in the US earn the equivalent in 3 days.
With this conviction that you've actually held as a belief for yourself now, if an opportunity comes now for you to leave Nigeria, so to say, what will you do?
So when it comes to Japa, I believe in the fact that you should have value. Will I Japa if I see a chance? It will depend.
But when you now look at people struggling, you're talking about someone earning 20,000 naira. That is 10 pounds. 10 pounds is for McDonald's.
Hello. This is Uproot the Issue podcast, a self-growth, a family and societal development podcast that is passionate about you and wishes to strike every issue affecting you, providing knowledge as insights for meaningful life. In today's episode, we will be discussing about Japa forever. What are the truthful realities behind leaving Nigeria? So, all this Japa, I want to Japa, I need to Japa, I have to Japa, I want to Japa. Have you for once sat down to emphasize, have a recap, think about those truthful realities of what you are not told about life outside this country? Join us as we start the conversation. I am so happy and delighted to have in the stock showroom today a professional nurse practicing in Nigeria and a graduate of Donetsk National Medical University and Medical Institute, University, Sumter State in Ukraine, Dr. Ekemini and Mr. Akwawo Akpan, who is also a nurse. So I would love them to introduce themselves.
Hello viewers, it's a pleasure being here. It's a pleasure for us to delve deep into Japa and having to relocate. And let's just see what are the realities in it.
Hi, you first of all introduced me as a graduate. So I've been a doctor for 6 years. So I think I deserve to be called a doctor. Yeah, Japa has come to stay. I don't think there's anything we can do about it.
All right, thank you very much. Gentlemen, we need to start the conversation. So jump in, let's get to know this whole thing about Japa. So I was even believing you bring wheat from Ukraine down here, you know.
Well.
But then, doctor, being a medical practitioner, and you must have had some level of training,
Exactly.
profound level of years of training from outside Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, so how will you describe your years outside this country?
Culture shock. That's the first thing. When we talk about not being in Nigeria, culture shock. That's the first thing you have. There's so many things that are not right about being in Nigeria. And then there are also so many things you will miss about being in Nigeria. And one of the things you will miss, I like dwelling on the positive part, one of the things you will miss is that communal living, that togetherness. You understand?
Okay.
That togetherness. You wake up, you can get a matchstick from the next block, and then that togetherness. But apart from that, there are so many other things that we are missing out on. Respect to time. That's one of the challenges I faced. I think I've lived in different places, really. Yes, I initially studied in Ukraine. That was where I did my MBBS. I became a doctor there. But I've lived in other countries too. So I get to analyze how life is, which is not really different, but they just have a different perspective towards life. So lived for many years, many years, many enough to change even my accent. But in reality, there's not been any significant improvement in terms of healthcare, in terms of very basic amenities. There's not been any improvement though, but it's just sad.
Okay, so
Exactly,
if we are talking about the number of years you've spent outside Nigeria, will you give us a round figure?
Cumulatively, maybe 15 years.
Wow.
I think so. I'm over 30, but maybe 15 years.
Okay.
I left when I didn't have beards.
But now you have one.
Now I have beards, so I'm old enough.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much. So, Nurse Akwawo Akpan, being a nurse who has actually been shaped by the Nigerian culture, you had your study here, you've lived in Nigeria all your life, and how is your own perception about this Japa of a thing? For you, how has Nigerian system shaped your career?
So I want to say that the Nigerian system leaves so much to be desired.
Yeah.
Leaves so much for someone
Facts.
to wish for. When you're opportune to interact with people outside this space, outside the Nigerian space, you sometimes may be tempted to question God, what you did wrong to actually have to be born here per se. And sometimes you go on social media, you see memes, people already planning the angel that sent them to Nigeria. When they get down to heaven, they will have a separate side discussion. So and I think the health system has become the greatest pointer to how much is left to be desired in this country. The fact that if you look at one of the system that is like one of the most important system that drives a country, almost nothing is absolutely done about it. We're looking at from the way teaching is done, like the way the people are trained. I'm talking about the health space. You can't compete with your contemporaries out of here. Looking at, sometimes we may even have to look at the standard of where you're being trained, right? The schools you go to, the kind of classrooms you are into, so many things. I'm looking at the fact that while people are trying to integrate AI into medical care and nothing to say, we're looking for how to bring projectors into the class. Projector that people have passed
Far away.
ages behind. I won't even talk when you get into practice or walk into the hospitals. It's, for example, I'm a nurse. They do lifting and the rest of the things. These are things that they can put some beds to do the lifting for you. So they say put somebody in a cardiac position. There are beds you can just tune and you have to stay in a cardiac. But it's a nurse that has to go and use pillar and do. It leaves so much to be desired for someone because, and it makes you also want to, that's why people are running. Let's just put it that way. So obviously when I see people who want to run, in fact, sometimes, in as much as I don't approve of it, I see people who are trying to use Libya to run and leave this country, to use the Mediterranean Sea. Sometimes you look at it and you can't just blame them. The shege scene here is enough to push you.
Okay, so you just made mention of that statement that you don't approve your counterparts or either people in your field or any Nigerian living at this point. So is it that there is a paradise that is, we can envision for ourselves here in Nigeria? Because I see many people feel outside the country, there's something that there's a hidden treasure outside this country. So why don't you consent to the fact that we should leave Nigeria?
Okay, I didn't say I don't consent to people living in Nigeria. I said I don't consent to people crossing the desert and using the Mediterranean Sea. That's illegal.
Okay.
I don't think it's proper to do, no matter how good your intentions are. That's my personal conviction, to do a good thing in an illegal way.
Okay.
Get yourself skilled up, go through the right processes, do what you have to do. If you want to live, you can live, right? But having to cut through the desert, having to cross multiple boundaries illegally and the rest of the thing, that is actually what I don't consent to. And the fact that people say outside here is paradise, I don't believe that outside here is paradise. I don't believe that any way in this world is paradise. But it's actually a scale of relativity, the fact that you compare this to this, right? So it leaves much to be desired when you consider Nigeria and wherever you're going. So people go there. Will you still work? Yes. Will they still be stressed? Yes, as always, there's always stress. Will there be workplace toxicity and the rest? There are even some issues even associated with Japa. For example, very hard. I don't even think you can suffer racism here. All of us, we are black skin. But
Yeah,
maybe
it
when
is.
you go there, you may suffer that. That's still an issue. But when you compare the two,
They too.
the other side makes it more desirable than this other side. And this other side being Nigeria.
Okay, so Dr. Ekemini, during this research, I discovered from the statistics provided by Statista that in 2020 we have a total population of Nigeria being 206 million,
Okay.
which gives Nigeria the position of the seventh most populated country in the world.
Yeah.
And so, still in that statistics, we have 1.3 million Nigerians, including migrants, people that have actually exited the shore of this country.
Yeah.
So now that's what pushed me to this question, Doctor. Being in Ukraine, flying out, having experience in other countries aside from Nigeria, what are those true realities which we are not told about leaving Nigeria? Because I see this Japa thing, people are really hyping it.
Well, up until 1984, I think Nigerians didn't need visa to go to the UK. That's just about 40 years ago. So how did we deteriorate so badly? That's the first question we should ask ourselves. How did things get that bad? That is the number one thing. We moved from not requiring visa to go to the UK to lining up to go to the same UK. Then we have a lot of questions to answer. Yes, there is paradise everywhere. But I'm permitted to say this, that some places are more paradise than the other, if there's a word like that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Why do Nigerians want to leave? Basic amenities. These are not luxuries. These are just basic amenities. Let us have food. Let us have water. Let us have light. Let us have accessible healthcare. Not
Healthcare.
necessarily free.
Yes.
I
But
don't
one
think
that we can
I don't
access.
think healthcare can be free.
Why?
Somebody has to pay for it somewhere.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Somebody has to pay for it somewhere. The antiretroviral drugs that we have today that is free in this country, there are countries that people have to pay for it. And it costs a lot of money. My colleague here knows about it. So, accessible healthcare. It doesn't have to be free. Just let it be accessible. Can I see a doctor? You can see me in a general hospital now. You insult me there and then you run to a private hospital and still see me there. That is the reality of Nigeria. So when people are leaving, they're not leaving because they want to leave. Look, Japa has caused a lot of harm. It is not pleasant. Some of my closest friends are just in different places. See, there's this meme I saw somewhere, and then the guy was like, you better treat me well now. No, Friday I might be in UK. That's the sad reality. So the Nigerian dream is living Nigeria.
Maybe Nigeria.
Just for basic amenities. You know that you cannot, with your current salary or monies that you earn, you cannot afford this space in the UK. With the money you earn in Nigeria now, you can't afford this space. So why do you think someone would abandon? I know people that have sold businesses and they've left. Why? Just for basic amenities. They want to be sure that when they take 2 tablets of paracetamol, it will actually work like 2 tablets.
And not the other way around.
Yes. So we've fallen so badly. As a fan of history, as a student of history, when I go back in time to realize that people used to come to Nigeria for their healthcare in the 60s.
And what is happening now?
So that's the sad reality. Just for basic amenities. They just want to be sure that they are safe. They just want to be sure that the water they're drinking is actually water.
Okay.
They want to be sure that the air they are breathing is clean. Do you understand? They want to be sure that, there are things that make life easy are not really here anymore. Major companies are pulling out because they cannot work with us again. So these are things that make people leave. It's not for the fun of it. A lot of people that have left had to borrow monies from friends, from family members and all what have you to be able to travel. So it's a painful thing. It's a painful reality. Father born in Nigeria, son born in the UK, grandchild born in the UAE. Is that the right way to go?
Meanwhile, it should be just Nigeria or
That's
just
that's the sad part. That's the sad part. I left Nigeria because I was not given admission to study medicine here, despite having a very high score in JAM.
Are you serious?
Yes, that's why I left.
And when you were there, did you have any intention of changing the system or trying to give back what you learned over there?
Giving back as always. If not for giving back, what on earth am I doing here? That's the thing. But now it looks like patriotism is not rewarded. That's the sad part. You don't get rewarded for being patriotic. Because you're working in the hospital like, man, you're foreign trained, and what the hell are you doing here? Everybody asks you the same
that's
thing.
the truth. Everybody keep
Why are
asking
you
you,
here?
what are you
Why are
doing
you here?
here?
So if you can be asked what you're doing in your home country, then why isn't Japa the first thing on your mind?
Let me rephrase it for you. If you can be asked what you do in your home country by people from your home country,
Okay. So that's
so
the
you
sad-
wonder if you're even welcomed at home.
That's the
Right?
sad
I think we were
reality.
just talking
That's the sad reality.
before we came in front of the camera.
Yeah.
It's I'm a nurse. I've been practicing for like 5 years. It's the number of time people keep asking
Why have you not joined your colleagues?
what are you
Why
still
are
doing
you not
here?
joining your colleagues?
Now-
What happened?
It even came to a point they'll be like they appreciate you more, they want you more.
So they
and-
appreciate
and-
you more.
and
The
rest.
salary is better there. So what are you doing here? You know that what we earn here as doctors in a month, doctors in the US earn the equivalent in 3 days.
Are you for real?
For real.
I see where the Japa story is coming.
For real. No, for real. You know it. With the current exchange rate, yes.
And,
Yes.
and our naira is not helping.
So now, and us, Akwawo, I believe you are a patriotic Nigerian.
Very, very.
Okay. And I love the fact that when I approached you earlier with this particular topic, there's this sense you actually, gave to me, that at least a sense of an optimistic sense, if I may say, because we're not pessimistic about the situation of Nigeria, we're hopeful. So with this conviction that you've actually held as a belief for yourself now, if an opportunity comes now for you to leave Nigeria, so to say, what will you do?
Okay, so when we talk about opportunity to leave Nigeria, okay, I'll say this. I was having a discussion, this very discussion you had with a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, and the same issue pop up, like, why don't you want to leave Nigeria? So I was saying I'll leave. She was like, when I was like, give me 5 years. I'm working on something.
Is that not too long?
So that's the same thing she said. She was like, is it not too long? And the rest. I have friends. I have people, amazing group of people who are saying one thing or the other. But when it comes to patriotism, right? I believe that everybody needs to have the right to do what they want to do. I, for one, I'm not the kind of person that will ever tell anybody not to Japa. Right? I also, for one, I'm not somebody to tell you to Japa.
Okay.
Now, why I'm saying this is the fact that I believe solely that crops grow better in fertile land. Right?
Facts.
Japa, considerably to Nigeria, is a fertile land. Right?
Okay. Yes.
But I also believe that in as much as fertile land is important for crops to grow, the seed needs to be good. Now, in as much as Japa offers so many prospects, Japa cannot fully replace your personal potential.
At all.
Right?
At all.
Okay.
So if Unonobu, for example, you Japa, there is no magic that will put book inside your head.
At all.
That's true.
Facts.
They may have a
Facts,
better
yeah.
teaching method.
Method,
They may
yes,
have a better
techniques.
teaching
Yeah.
technique and equipment, but that will not put you books.
Yeah.
And that's always been the crux of my own issue about putting out there. Because whether we want it or not, one thing that is going to make you enjoy going out there is the fact that you go out there and be valuable. Now, that's even one of the reasons why medical profession sells out there, because you are valuable, you offer. You can't just come into somebody's system and choose to be somebody that depends and take so much from them without giving back. Right?
Yes.
So when it comes to Japa, I believe in the fact that you should have value. Will I Japa if I see a chance? It will depend.
Depend on what exactly?
It will depend on my personal preference.
Okay.
It will also depend on what I'm actually going there to do. I've talked to some certain person and I told them that there are certain things I can't go there to do for whatever reason. But if I see this, I'm going to do this. Now, although some of those conversations are quite personal, but I tell people that when you want to go, which you should go, which is oftentimes when I'm talking to my colleagues, sometimes it's always been my point. Don't just go because I think the bad thing about this mindset is the fact that, like you said, paradise mindset.
Yes.
If the day I just take my leg out of this country, my sorrow.
I will blame.
They will say, if I come back, let me bend.
So they'll say something, make I bend. And also that my sorrow has completely evaporated. It cannot completely evaporate. You know why? Because if you walk into that place, into that same country, there are people who are not doing well.
Exactly.
Right? So it means that in as much as their system is good, there's still certain things also that can still drag you back and hinder you.
Yeah.
So if you're going, know why you want to go and make sure it suits what you actually want to go and do. So I feel people, the issue I have is the bandwagon lifestyle,
Okay.
which you allow people to influence what you want to do. Like you said, if somebody sits down and decides to sell his business because he has a vision, he has what he's going there to do. Perfect. Have you seen Ekemini? Ekemini left though. Have you seen Okon? Okon left though. So me, I don't know what I'm doing. The next thing, my people are sleeping. I pick my family's land, put it in the market. Before they know, a lot has come. The next thing, I'm calling them with a foreign number.
Yeah.
It's like the American dream. We've seen this happen. The American dream. We've seen the gold rush. Right? California has gold and everybody from all over the place, they run to California.
Exactly.
As you are running to California, have you carried your spade? Have you learned how to dig gold? You think you just walk into California and start
digging somewhere.
Packing golds on the street? People lived in that California before you came, right? So let us try to evaluate what we want and go and get it. Everybody who wants to should be allowed to go.
Everybody who intends to leave this country, of course, you are very free to leave. But before you leave, please, as much as you could, assess and evaluate your decision. Because that country you are envisioning as a paradise zone, people have been there, they won't allow you to sell. This is very interesting and I've been learning so far. I don't know if you are doing this. If you are just seeing this for the first time, please go and locate the subscription button and click on the icon so you'll be updated. And so this conversation is rolling. I'm moving back to Dr. Ekemini. You see?
I'm on the hot seat.
Yes, it's already. Let me tell you when you leave this country.
Forgive and forget.
Okay, so doctor, recently I've just come to, sometime I sat down and I've just been observing. Aside from the fact that I remember there was a time in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I stand corrected if I'm wrong. This is late 70s.
Okay.
There was that time that we had more than 6 foreign lecturers in a particular department in this country. I'm not talking about just one country. I mean Spain, Belgium, German, like other countries. And some that was, I think I should attribute that to the oil boom that came in that time.
In the 70s,
The 70s. But then, why is it that? Because somehow I do discover that once we leave this country, there's one thing we blacks do often encounter. So I would love you to, elaborate more. What should we expect as a black when we are about leaving Nigeria? Mostly to West and the East.
Now the truth is, it depends on where you're going to. You understand? There are some permit me to use this, very core white countries. Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland and all of that. And then we have less black people for some very funny reasons. Really? Not necessarily racism. cold and all of that, food and all. And then we have them France, we have them United Kingdom and others, where we have a lot of black people.
Okay.
We've been moving there for centuries, you understand? So now it depends on where you're going to. I've lived predominantly in Eastern Europe. I've moved around Eastern Europe a whole lot. And you'd know it's a core white region. Been to Russia, lived in Ukraine, been to Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, and all of that. And the first thing you would experience in Eastern Europe is racism. Racism. A lot of them have never been exposed to black people.
Oh, they are just seeing you for
the first time. And then it's, to me, I'd say it's an oxymoronic situation where you have a mixture of pleasure and pain. Because there's some regions you move to and they're very happy to see you.
Wow.
They're like, what did you do to your skin? Did sun burn you? And whatever and whatever. You get some weird questions like, how's your hair like this?
Okay.
And all of that. I went to a certain region on the border with, I think with Latvia or something. I don't remember. But that's a long time ago.
Okay.
And then some kids saw me and like, do you eat black sand? So why is your skin like this? Well, a lot of times, you know, when it's one thing to be black. It's another thing to be Nigerian. Nigerians are, without mincing words, I'm not trying to be immodest, we are the smartest set of black people to ever walk on earth.
I just feel like clapping for you now.
That's the fact. We have shattered all academic records. We have set new ones, and we are ready to do more. So even other Africans are very uncomfortable a lot of times with having Nigerians around. They're like extra careful. I had a friend that was from Zimbabwe. He said when he came to school, they told him, be very careful with Nigerians. They are very smart.
You get brain.
So now, Nigeria is exporting more brains than oil. We have sent more brains out there than we have sent crude oil. Since crude oil was explored, I think in 1956, that's when So between 1956 and today, that's almost 70 years, I think. We have sent more brains out there. It is beginning to tell on the economy. It is beginning to tell on the country. Greater majority of black doctors you would find in the US are Nigerians. God. Why do we send these people out there? We have made life unbearable for a lot of people. Policies, salaries, infrastructure, everything is going down, and it has been going down for years. It didn't start today. This is the effect of what started in the 80s. We're talking about this oil boom of the 70s. What did we get out of that oil boom? That's the same oil boom that made Saudi Arabia great. Today. You know, we growing up, we the core 90s kids, we didn't hear of Dubai. Not until like mid-2000s.
And all of a sudden we have
and now everybody wants to go to Dubai. Now they're telling us, don't come. If you want to come, have a certain amount of money. Nigeria could have been Dubai if we wanted it to be. That's the fact. Now, there's no sense of belonging in being a Nigerian. So you have Nigerians living in Europe and telling, oh, I'm not Nigerian. And then that's it. So everything has gone bad. We need to tell ourselves the truth now. Everything has gone bad. Everything has gone bad. So what do you expect as a Nigerian in Europe? Racism depends on which part of Europe you're going to. Racism. But at the same time, you might also be given open arms.
Okay.
Open arms, really, really. Because opportunities abound in Europe, to be very honest. Most of the Europeans are very comfortable and they don't want to push. But then in Nigeria, as Nigerians, we have that mentality to push. We just want things to happen.
You've been pushed all your life.
We want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want to be felt.
The global space.
On the global space. To be very honest.
Wow.
To be very honest, my years in school, I was a student union president. I think I was active in student union almost all through my study years.
Wow.
That's the truth. Nobody can say, oh, they went to Sumi State University and I was not there. It's not even possible.
Okay, so doctor, you talked
Yeah.
about, you made mention of the policy, and that is what
Yes,
will
policies.
bring me to Nurse Akwawo. I just discovered something in your field, your field actually. There's the Nurses and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. There's a new policy in your own field concerning certificate verification, and I discovered that during this particular era, it is expected of a nurse, whether practicing here or Nigeria, that you must have 2 months post experience qualification before any foreign council could actually grant you your certificates verification of that. So what can you say about this? Because this is a plight to many nurses.
So they say
Nigerians.
2 years post qualification.
2 months.
Now,
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, they say 2 years. So the thing is the fact that basically verification at the most basic theme is that I'm coming to your country to work. This is the first time you're meeting me, so you cannot know for sure if I'm actually a nurse. So you know that guy over there is from my country.
Okay.
Or is in charge of nurses. So you just reach out to the person and be like, okay, I've seen Akwawo. Sorry, he said he's a nurse. Is he actually a nurse? That's just what verification is.
Okay.
Right? Simple as ABC. Right? So that's the whole thing. That's how verification should be. Like we said, leaving things to be designed. The Western world, you can get verified in minutes. Basically, because they have everything on a computer, so everybody just
a few
types
minutes,
in and everybody
just a few
goes
minutes.
their way. Nigeria said they wouldn't, that they have to send an email and the rest of the thing. It used to be a few weeks, I'd be a month. Now they say 2 years. It isn't, it's not supposed to be so. Right? Be it as it may, we have entry-level jobs everywhere. Wait up, because somebody needs to start somewhere.
At least.
That's always the truth. So every place should have an entry-level job. So if I could find an entry-level job outside and nobody cares about my experience, I can come and start. As far as I've gone through the normal training. If there are jobs they want 5 years experience, they will state it, 5 years experience. If there are jobs they want 2 years experience, they can state it, 2 years experience. So when the whole policy came up, and then letter of good standing and the rest of whatever came up, nurses were not good with it. And they're still not good with it. There've been protests, there's been everywhere. Like even got to a point that the greenhouse House of Representatives, Federal House of Representatives, had to jump in. Thankfully, someone from Akwa Ibom State, Patrick Umar, pushed a bill talking about that to the House. Now, they had to keep the verification pending. The House that had asked, if you go on the nursing portal now, they said that verification has been stopped due to direction from the House of Representatives. I think about a week or 2 ago, that same House of Representatives gave an order, sent a circular that verification portal should be open. The portal is not open till today. Right. So the issue is, they say there are no nurses in Nigeria, right? That the healthcare system.
You guys
now,
are too
what health
big,
organization placed us in
Japa.
the red list? So someone asked me once when this issue came up and was like, is it actually that we don't have nurses in Nigeria? We don't lack nurses in the job market, but we lack nurses in the system. Right? Akwa Ibom State has like 3 schools of nursing. Let me use my state I know.
Yes.
At an average, if we graduate about 150 a year from the 3 schools, we put them together. Are they employing these people? You're not employing them. They're not. I can say this because you have your colleagues, you talk to people.
Most of you are working in the private.
That's what I'm saying.
firm.
You work in the private firm and you being paid peanuts. That's if I want to
Extra
see,
workload, God.
come to Akwa Ibom State, look for a private hospital. I'm not saying an NGO or maybe a company. Look for a private hospital that pays a registered nurse up to 60,000 and show me.
Might probably not find.
This is Uyo come the whole of Uyo. Is that the like in? Do you know they increased the minimum wage, but they did not increase nursing minimum wage? The minimum wage until about a couple of months ago was 33,000. Nurses were still earning 20,000.
This is Nigeria.
Our Nigeria.
You are going far. Where you're sitting in Uyo. This Uyo. Let's not go far.
This is serious. There's madness.
So that is why when I see, and now they're saying they are nurses. Do you know how many nurses graduate in this country? Almost 80,000 every year. 80,000.
Every blessed year.
And it's going to increase. They're planning to increase it to 120,000. Schools are opening. That's even private schools are opening. Private colleges of nursing, schools of nursing, everything. People are graduating. No job. The pay is not okay. The infrastructure to work is not there. People are suffering from. Now, people working in hospitals, like government one, are suffering from burnout. People are outside saying, what's the way to relieve burnout? Employ more people. But people are there begging. Now, we don't even want to talk into the whole issues that come in when they want to employ in government hospitals. From asking to pay for jobs and all those kind of. So this is why these people are running. Now, they've closed the verification portal because all things being equal, to follow with, guidelines, World Health Organization guidelines, you can't just pick someone from a country without actually verifying that because you didn't train the person. So you can't, should I say, you can't ascertain if the person is actually trained.
Yeah.
It's only the body that trained them. So that's why everybody, all the nurses are shouting, open the portal. Since you don't want us there, open the portal. Who feel go? Make you come on.
Okay,
Exactly.
Gentlemen, that has been a very wonderful session with you. But before we call it a wrap, Dr. Ekemini, please just give us, boost the audience there, because they are viewing you now. Just
back to the hot seat.
So just boost them. Tell them, just briefly.
What do you want me to tell them?
The
To
last
Japa. See. Now the truth about Japa is this. I can't tell you don't go. I can't also tell you go. Do what works for you. But remember that we are all trying not to be that broke uncle. We're all trying not to be that stingy brother. And you know why you're called stingy. When they look for money and you cannot give.
That's a wow.
And you are too old to say you don't have. So you keep telling them, come next week. Come after next week. Most of us, most people actually left because they have so many dependents. When you're working hard in Europe, you're working hard not to feed yourself alone. You're working hard to feed the family. Nigerians work extra hard. I mean extra hard. A lot of people would never want to leave. Some people don't want to leave because they are just too connected to the house. They're connected to the family to leave. But when you now look at people struggling, you're talking about someone earning 20,000 naira. That is 10 pounds.
This is serious.
10 pounds is for McDonald's. Do you understand? Money for McDonald's, for burger, is what you're earning in a month.
In Nigeria.
Today we're talking about ending corruption. We're talking about fighting corruption. How do you even fight corruption effectively when people are not well paid? Why do we have people asking for bribes everywhere? It's because they're not well paid. And now bribe has become almost part of the culture. It will be nearly impossible to eliminate bribery. Someone will gladly tell you, if I were to depend on my salary alone, will I drive this car?
Drive this car.
My friend, it's either you do the needful or you find your way.
Okay, so Nurse, please, to the viewers out there, very briefly, your final word.
All right, so especially to nurses, because those are my people. You have the right. If you want to desire, like my colleague had said, go if you want to go. Let it be that it's something that it's what you want, so that you could think about it and you can go through whatever it is. Just that. But basically, this country, I'm saying this because most of you've had to interact. This country leaves so much to desire for the healthcare system. And as a matter of fact, most people who were healthcare related are running out of the healthcare system.
Exactly.
The way we are having tech nurses, nowadays, it's something to be desired. So please, do what you seem is good for you in the long run. It's to make a living. And just an advice, as a nurse, you're a professional. So as professionals, you have the right to earn from your profession.
Exactly.
So do the needful.
Exactly.
As a career personnel passionate about your dreams, you have every right at any point to leave the country. But before you leave, there's a question you should ask yourself. Assess and evaluate your essence of leaving the country. If you want Japa, it's your choice. You can leave at any point. But please don't forget that anywhere in the world, we can't tame a place a permanent paradise. And when you plan to exist there forever, always remember that there's one thing that is certain. You can never and will never forget your roots. This has been a wonderful conversation with Dr. Ekemini Harris, MBBS from Donetsk National Medical University in Ukraine, and Nurse Akwawo Akpan. Until next episode, God bless you. Stay.